Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another interview on the Southern Cross Combat YouTube channel. I'm the host, Joel Rasmussen, and today we're talking to an absolute legend of the Australian MMA scene. We are talking to Mr. Joe Lopez, the leading man of freestyle MMA, ahead of Alexander Volkanovski's title defense against Diego Lopez, no relation to Joe, in Sydney on February 1st, UFC 325, the main event. We talk about the fight. We talk about how it came to be. We talk about if it's going to be Volk's last fight. And Joe gives some insight into that and gives his thoughts on that. We talk about Colby Thicknesse, who's kind of the next generation of guy coming out of freestyle and how he's traveling, if he'll be on the card. Jamie Mullarkey, as well as a myriad of other things. As always, thank you so much to Joe for the time. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you. If you enjoy the video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it, hit the bell, all that shit that YouTubers ask you to do. It really does help out the channel. Let me know what your favorite moment from this interview is, and I'll see you in the next one. But here's my interview with Joe Lopez. G'day, it's Joel Rasmussen for Southern Cross Combat, and I'm very happy to be joined by the man who runs Freestyle MMA. He is Mr. Joe Lopez. Joe, I greatly appreciate you giving me the time today. How are you this fine Saturday morning?
Yeah, good. Boys just finished sparring, just got home. Yeah, gonna enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
I'll say, and now you're talking to me on your weekend, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're absolutely thrilled. I do really appreciate the time, especially on a weekend. There are many things I want to talk to you about, so I just want to jump straight into it. With the top of the news, Mr. Alex Volkanovski will be fighting Diego Lopez, UFC Sydney 325. Uh, how did we get here?
Um, Look, it's exciting news that we're going to be fighting here in Sydney. For the fans, and yeah, and whether it's Volk's last fight or not, I think it's just going to be special that he does it, in his hometown. Me as a coach, I don't like fighting at home, but for Australia and Australian MMA, I think it's unreal. It's gonna put a lot of eyes on Sydney and MMA, which is good.
When I last spoke to you in an on-camera sense, it was prior to UFC Perth. We were talking about Colby, who was on. We were talking about Jamie, who was on. And I asked about Lerone because I'll like being completely transparent with you. Like I thought they were going to announce it that weekend. I was like, dude, it's going to be Lerone. How did it end up being Diego again?
Um, Look, all along, when after Murphy's fight, they said it was going to be Murphy, and we were going to fight in December. So we had that was our what they'd given us, and we were ready for that. And then after Lopez's fight, they sort of changed it up, and then it was going to be a bit close for Lopez to fight in December. Not saying he couldn't have done it, but then they looked at doing, hey, let's do UFC Sydney. This would be the ultimate headliner. And then in the process of that, they've had trouble with the dates, and that's why they haven't announced it. We we weren't even sure whether we were going to. About 3 weeks ago, we didn't even know if we were going to be fighting in Sydney. So this is how close it's come to the wire. We knew we were going to be fighting Diego. We just didn't know where until 3 weeks ago. They were saying yes, it was going to be Sydney, but they were trying to change the date, and then we were going to go. Maybe we are going to have to go back to December. So there was a lot of like I said, we didn't really know till last week, I think,
The difference between fighting in December and February, it's quite a few weeks. During that period where everything's up in the air, like, how are you? You are a pretty like chill guy, but is that something that like stresses you out?
Nah, because look, it's an ever changing thing, and like I said, it can always change, and there's no use worrying about something that you're not in control of. You just got to be ready for when they deal you the card to play it, And but yeah, I don't stress very much.
What did you think when it ended up being Diego?
Um, Look, I like Diego as a fighter and everything else, but to be fair, we just beat him. And for me, and I've always said it, Mosvat is the guy that deserves to to fight for the title. Whether what he's done or whatever's happened behind the back scenes, but he's the one that he's deserving of the title shot. And then Murphy second. Both undefeated. New challenges for Volk, and for me as a coach. But it's Diego, so we're going to play Diego card.
Is it difficult to, I don't want to like never use the phrase like, they use the phrase like get out of bed for something like that when it's something you've done?
No, because Diego is probably one of the better guys in the division, and he is a challenger, and you know, y- how can I say, when that title shot's on, we got to be on, the whole team's on. Now I'm just organising the training partners and everything that come down, because we'll be starting. I mean, we've sort of started the camp, but we'll start the full camp, the 8-week camp, and I think it's next week or the week after. So, and then, so there'll be a few, Craig Jones and Frankie and the regular guys coming down. I think Brad Riddell will be here as well. Just the few other guys, but they're the guys that I've confirmed so far.
What, since this is a rematch, what did you learn about Diego from the last fight?
Um, he's tough. He's very tough. He can take a strike, So uh, he also, after Volk took him down, he didn't really want to be taken down again. He fought tooth and nail to defend any takedown or any attempt of a takedown that Volk tried after that first round. I mean, there's a few other things, but I'll keep them close to my chest. But anyway,
He's had one fight since facing Volk. In that fight, we talked about it last time we spoke. You kind of gave me your thoughts on the fight, but like, what improvements have Diego made? Do you think Diego can change that much in a one fight difference?
I mean, look, people can change. It's whether they're that type of person that can change, some people after each camp, I know Volk, after each camp, he tries to evolve and bring something new to his game. Whether Diego does that, I don't know. He said he was going to be more patient than he was with when he fought Volk. By patience, he just sat in the pocket and got hit a few more times before he went. I don't think that's a pretty good strategy. But like I said, he's tough, man. He took some big shots from Silver, and and came back and gave them back. So you know that's where he's dangerous in that pocket. Returning shots after he's been hit because he can take them and he's prepared to give them after he's taken them.
Uh, I understand you said just before there are some things you're going to keep close to your chest. I understand that. I just got finished watching this interview you did a couple weeks ago in the gym. Very professionally done. I'm not sure. I can't remember the name who the people who did it. But something I think about you and Volk and maybe why that partnership works so well is you're both constantly looking to improve. Is there anything from the first Diego fight that worries you heading into this rematch? Is there any big hole you think that like, okay, we need to fill this, we need to stop Diego from doing this?
Um, yeah, they're the sort of things that I said I'm going to keep close to my chest. And we are working on a few of those things, and come fight night, you'll see. Hopefully, some of those things come to play.
I will, of course, and I will respect that. Something you mentioned right at the top. There's some rumors. I'm just gonna like come out and say it. Is this Alexander Volkanovski's last fight?
Look, I can't answer that question. That's Alex's question to answer. Uh, People have asked me this. I would have been happy if the Miami one was his last fight and he went out, after everybody doubted him and everything was against him, after his losses. And that would have been like a beautiful ending. But Alex wants to fight on, so I'm here, and I'll always be in his corner till he wants to hang his gloves up. In our conversations, he's always said he wants to maybe make this his last championship fight, and then he wouldn't mind having another super fight, like for a BMF or something like that. But again, that's up to Alex to sit back and he's the only one who can answer that question.
I find it I think we're in a really fascinating time in the whole MMA scene. Because I have a very similar conversation in interviews I do with Eugene, where it feels like two guys who have been linked and their friendship throughout their career, Alex and Izzy. You got like the gyms, guys from CKB come to freestyle, you go over to CKB. Like these two things are linked so much in the scene and they're in similar positions. When I talk to Eugene, this is also a conversation about Izzy that pops up. You've been with Alex his whole career. How is it to be here, to be getting to the point where we are at the kind of the tail end of it?
um, I mean, it's been such a great journey, and you don't want it to end, but it is. And I'm more excited for the next generation of Australian MMA guys coming through, and guys like Izzy and Volk, Rob, those guys open the door to, all these young Aussie up and comers to go, hey man, these guys did it, we can do it too. And I think that's really put, for such small nations, we punch way above our belt, and everyone always says that. And I go, yeah, and a lot has to do with those three guys opening the door and doing it, not going over to America with American coaches and America. No, we did it all here at home, and I think, yeah, we should be proud as a nation of what we've done, for MMA and I just look forward to the future more than anything. That's why I'm investing a bit of money in the gym. For not for me or whatever, not for Volk, but for this new lot of fighters that are going to come through and you know stamp their marks. Get some more world champions.
Uh, Everyone is in this game, like the people who do it. I would consider myself that as well, not someone who does it, but I'm in the game. Is because we love it and we love the sport and we all love like Aussie MMA. Um, and because of that, I love the storytelling and I want to see Volk ride off into the sunset. I want to see Izzy. I want to see everyone who achieved great things do those great things. But at the end of the day, also like it is prize fighting. You do make money. What do you make of kind of legacy? And is it important to like get as much money as you can before you dip, or is it like retire with a good legacy?
Um, Look, I think, and I've always said this about not only Volk but all my fighters. I want them to, I encourage them to set themselves up. Not think that what you're getting now is going to last forever because your careers are very short. So you got to really, look after your money, invest your money right, and investing in yourself as well. So when you're in your, later on in your years, you don't have to go out and fight unless you want to. A lot of these guys, like I'd say Anderson Silva, I don't think that guy would be strapped for money, but he still enjoys fighting, so he goes out and does it. Where there's other fighters out there that have to go out there and keep doing it because they've got no other choice, and that's sad, and it's a sad fact, But yeah, like I said, for me, I want to make sure that my guys are mentally, so I look after them in the gym. So if they're concussed, they go through the concussions protocols. And then for later on in life, like I said, that they don't have to go out there and keep getting concussed because they don't know how to do anything else.
What do you make of the stuff that Volk has set up? He's really doing well with the cooking, the YouTube channel's going well, he's bought a beautiful plot of land. What do you make of him, what he's done so far to set up himself after fighting?
Mate, I think it's unreal, you know. That's what you know. I mean, he set out, but honestly, we both set out that I really wanted because he's such a great guy, and he started with nothing. You know what I mean? He had to go and live with his mum at the beginning because he couldn't afford to live in his house. You know, and he did that for a long time, and people don't realize. And for now to see him, you know, being successful outside of fighting, I'm happy and proud for him. You know that he's going, and the more success to him, the better. You know.
Uh, you mentioned just before that camp starts either next week or the week after. You're having some guys come in. He is currently over in Thailand. I'm assuming doing like pre-camp stuff.
Yeah, well, look, I was going over, but then I realised I had the gradings and everything else, and it wasn't worth going over for 4 days or whatever. Because so yeah, I had to pull out. But you know, he's in safe hands over there, maybe with Frankie. But you know, as everyone sort of knows, you know, Alex and I got shares in Bang Tao, you know, so we are part owners in that place, and it's a beautiful facility, great to train, and it's I'm looking forward to the second stage, what's happening out there if it goes ahead. But yeah, I like to get out there a lot, but a lot more. But it's just hard with going to, I'm always flying to corner someone or do something for someone that it is hard and still have the gym back here, and run it.
What's the second stage that's happening in Bangtao?
They're looking at, taking the land across the road and building a, like recovery center type thing,
Very cool. And you mentioned, sorry, what's up?
No, and I think they were going to bring over the strength and conditioning side over to that side of the road, and then just keep this side of the road because they've run out of space now for the striking. The Muay Thai is that big that I think they're going to have to take over the strength and conditioning side of that part of the gym, yeah, because it's just, yeah, the how could I say? We started with one little part, then we got the place next door, and now we have to go across the road. It's just growing. I mean, if you go there, it's unbelievable vibe, number one, and then just the amount of people that go there. It just, yeah, from seeing it from the opening to now, the amount of people that go there, yeah, it's unbelievable and great. The boys are doing a great job. Got great trainers and, like I said, great atmosphere and a great facility. So look forward to that next year.
Talking about running out of space, the gym at home is also moving.
Yep.
So is that a similar thing? Have we just run out of space in the church?
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, we'd run out a long time ago, and again, I didn't, I had to find the right place, and I didn't want to rent. I had to buy the place, and yeah, this place came along. It's down the road. It just made sense, and yeah, here we are. Going to move. Two things that we were lacking, were probably parking, number one, and space inside the gym, and this place is, nails both of those, plus we'll have the strength and conditioning in there, and we want to put a recovery center in there. That will be the third stage of it. But yeah, the first stage is getting that MMA and room up and running, and the mats arrive on the 19th of December. Hopefully they get laid. I don't know how long it's going to take them to lay them, and then we can just start training in there before the year's out.
So you're hoping the whole move will happen prior to the year being over?
If I can get the mats down 100%, hopefully, I mean, there's all, like I said, I don't like to stress and I don't like it, but, when you're dealing with contractors, everybody knows, I I've been waiting like a month to get 12 new toilets. They arrive. The guy goes to install them. He goes, they haven't laid the skirting tile in there. Why didn't they do that while I was waiting for the toilet? Anyway, I'm not going to get into my construction woes, but um, hopefully everything will be done in the next week or two upstairs, as far as like the showers, toilets, painting, and all that little fiddly bits. But as far as the construction and everything, everything's up. The things are up to hang the bags, the strength. Oh, I'm going to have like another strength and conditioning room upstairs for the fighters up there. That's all complete. Yeah, it's all going ahead.
You
Looking
meant
forward to the move.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm hoping to come up and see the old gym off, and then another time come see the new gym.
Yeah,
Uh, you mentioned just before you had to stay back to do some grading. I wanted to talk about that. Mr. Colby
yeah,
Thicknesse gets his first dan as a black belt.
yeah,
How is that? We talked about, the early days of, the journey you've been on with Volk. There's this photo of Colby where he's like small and has no hair on his head or his eyebrows that
yeah.
you're there with. How is it to have this kid and coach him not only into the UFC but to his first dan as a black belt?
Yeah, we've come a long way, from me, working to get my black belt to now giving black belt, or I've given him his black belt, but he's got his first stripe. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, surreal. I don't know. I'm just looking forward to seeing more Colbys come through. That's what I'm looking forward to.
What a How do you get your first dan? How many years is that as a black belt?
I think it's either 2 or 3. I don't know. I can't remember. I I've got to remember to get out of bed. No, I'm joking. There's so many things to remember that I can't. Yeah, I think I I think it's 3 years. I know for the first, like for your second one, you've got to wait another 3 years, and then for your next one, you've got to wait another 3 years, and then for your fourth stripe, you've got to wait 5 years. So, and then, like I said, there is a criteria out there. I just can't remember it.
Let's hope he's a first dan. He might have been, it might be 1 year since he's been a black belt and he's just lying to get the stripe.
No, no, no. We've got a like in our data system. It tells when people,
A tracker.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So it tells us when people are done and how long they've been there and how many sessions they've done. Not that I grade them on that, but it is there just to remind me so we don't forget.
These next two questions, I think I can predict the answer, but I don't care. I'm gonna ask him anyway. Is Colby Thicknesse fighting in Sydney?
Ask Colby.
Okay. Is Jamie Mullarkey fighting in Sydney?
I'd like him to fight in Sydney.
Oh, okay. So there's a difference in answer there.
Yeah.
Do you maybe not want Colby to fight in Sydney?
Um, no, 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 no. Colby's still carrying a bit of a leg injury. I mean, he's training, but he's still got. They thought he had like broke his leg or something, but it's just bruise on the leg, and it's just taking longer to heal than what it should. It's always bad those places because you're always bumping them, and it just takes. So we can't go into a full camp with one leg. So unfortunately, he's just going to have to wait for that bruise on his shin to calm down, and then hopefully he can come back for the next one. But Jamie's all ready to go. He's keen. Yeah.
Is there a person you'd like to see Jamie fight?
Um, no, I just like seeing Jamie fight. He's a real goer, and since he's been training with us, his wrestling has really improved so much. I look forward to him and Josh Coolabar having that little match next weekend. I think it is. They got their jiu-jitsu match. I'm hearing Josh Coolabar's about 95 kilos. I don't know, Josh. This is the rumors. I haven't seen you.
I'm reporting that. I'm reporting that. Per sources, Josh Coolabau. Fact. Uh, we go from talking about three guys who are freestyle fighters. Last time we spoke, we talked about, what is the criteria for people coming to the gym. You have Jono McAuliffe and Jimmy Crute down at the moment, or I don't know if they've left.
Yeah, they left yesterday. Yeah, it's
How was
been
it having them?
great. I mean, Jimmy's been here a few times, I mean, and he's trained here for a couple of months at a time. So, he's a regular, he's been a regular face. But having Jono here was good. Sort of. Yeah, having these, and again, I was talking about, the up and coming MMA guys in Australia, and it was just great having those guys come here, and I just share a bit of knowledge with them. They take it on board. That makes me feel really good. And anything I can do to try and help these guys or any Australian Kiwi guy to get better and make Australia proud, man, I'm there for them, and the boys know that. And that's why they come up. And yeah, it's good camaraderie, but like I keep saying, Australian MMA is very small. We're a very small community, and we should be trying to help each other. If we're not fighting each other, we should be helping each other.
Jimmy's been in a few times. I feel like we've talked about it before. I've talked about it with a bunch of guys from freestyle. But how did Jono wind up coming down?
uh I think Jimmy and Jono do a bit of training together. There were a couple of other guys going to come as well. But yeah, they couldn't make the date. But no, I'm just happy they came along. It was the first time I got to. I've spoken to John. He's always been a respectful, nice guy. But to see him train and work and his work ethics, I'm telling you, that guy's going to be one guy to look out for. He's got very, very good work ethics, takes things on board, asks the right questions. I think he's one to look out for.
This isn't exactly a question, but it's just something I realized when I was talking to Jono a couple months back. Him and Colby, like they shared cards on the regional scene. They both made their debuts on the same UFC card. Jono was like up at Wingdang just walking around and bumped into Colby. It's like, I don't know what, because it's so funny because they're completely different weight classes, but I like the idea of it's like, you ever see Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito? I like
Yes,
that
yes.
they have that level of friendship. That's what I want to believe.
Yeah, well, we got Kasib and Volk, and that happens everywhere with Volk. He's our little Danny DeVito's. We got both of them.
Uh, in my head, the freestyle room is first off, incredibly high level room. But the guys I think of is lightweight and below. When Jimmy comes, who does he even like work with? He's a light heavyweight.
Um, I mean, Volk thinks he's a heavyweight, so Volk thinks, and Volk loves going against. Oh, like I have to just tell him, go, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you getting, and not that I won't hurt him, but especially if we're coming into a camp, these guys, there's some of them are nearly double his weight sometimes, and he still wants. He's like a little pit bull going in there. But we have got big guys at our gym. They're just some of them are more jiu-jitsu wrestling guys. But this is the thing with the new facility. I'm going to have more space so I can open up the fight team. I have to keep the fight team pretty small because I just haven't got the room. But where now I've got room, so I'm going to be able to let more guys come in and train with the team. Yeah, because that's the biggest hurdle why the team has been that size because obviously, yeah, lightweight and all, and that's Volks weight. They're the people that we need more than having Jimmy Crutes there. And we've had the famous Zach Lomax in. I mean, he's been training with us for a while. Him and a few of the old Dragons players. Jack DeBellum, Laurie Blocker. They've always off season, even on season. That boys come down, have a roll, have a hit out. But Zach, I don't know. Zach might. He considers himself a bit of a boxer MMA.
Oh, might he have a fight?
I don't know. Maybe ask Zach Lomax. He loves talking to reporters. I'm going to put that out there.
Oh, excellent. Well, I'm sure you'll put in a good word for me.
I'm being sarcastic when I say that.
I thank you, Joe. I couldn't pick up on that. I wanted to bring up Zach. Obviously, like being a player and that's like a hectic lifestyle. Does he just like rock up some days? Is Zach just like in some days, or does he like let you know?
um, Look, off season or whatever, he usually comes in like pretty regularly. You know what I mean to train. Um, yeah, he just likes it. You know, he's what would you call him? Uh, he likes training. You know what I mean, and any kind of physical training he's in for. And I mean, he's a specimen of a lad. You know what I mean? He's like 105, I think 110 kilos, but there's not an ounce of fat on him. You know, he's a specimen of a bloke. You know, super athletic. Yeah, he's a handful anyway. You know.
Was there any crossover of him and Jimmy?
Yeah, they did a bit of training. They did a bit of grappling. They did a bit of sparring.
How did that go?
Good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I've got video if someone wants to buy it.
How much is it?
I don't know.
Depends who's bidding.
Yeah, it depends who's bidding and how much they're going to give me. And yeah, it'll have to be a lot because Lomax will hate me. Not because does bad, but he just doesn't want to. Yeah, he's just copped so much over this. Yeah, him being at the gym training, and he's left the NRL, and whether he's doing this, and yeah, he's yeah. I think there's reporters camped outside his house every morning, so he's not happy.
Well, I'm sure he'll love this conversation, and
Yeah, you will.
I look forward to the age or whoever reaching out to you.
Yeah.
Finally, from your last topic, at least, I want to bring up a man that you've mentioned throughout this interview. We've talked about it. Last time we talked about him, and we talked about the guys in the UFC. The man who seems, in my opinion, seems to be next up from freestyle is Kaser Murdoch. He is now 7-0 with 6 finishes. I spoke to Kasem after his last fight. I saw him. How is Kasem?
Yeah, he's good. Like he obviously he's not sparring, but he showed up to sparring this morning, and actually he's all the bruising on his face is gone, which is good. And yeah, I said he could start once that bruising came down, and we go through the protocol. He'll get back into training. I don't know whether. I mean, he's got a few health issues, and I don't mean anything like serious. It's more that why he's missing weight. He's just sitting too heavy at the moment, and he's starting the camps very heavy, and then he what he's doing is doing it wrong, and I want him to get that right first before we look at anything else into the future. Yeah, the kid's got a bright future, and I don't want to burn him out or get him cooked, or get himself in hospital like last time because of his weight issues. So I want to get him drop his weight so then he can just focus on his training during the training camp instead of trying to diet hard and train hard, and yeah, it's not working. So that's the big thing. And then you get like these other journalists out there, that Tinley guy, you know, going out for clickbaits. I mean, the guy is a joke, seriously. If you need to knock Australian MMA and Kiwis to boost your profile, you are a weak, weak man. And I'm telling you, someone's going to go out there and Nate Diaz you. I'm telling you, I can see it happening to you. You've got a big mouth hiding behind the microphone and a screen, and you're going to call fighters out. Well, these fighters can fight, number one. You can't. Second, they got friends and teammates that are probably sick and tired of you running your big mouth. How dare you disrespect fucking Australian MMA fighters? Mate, if they have a bad performance, they'd have a bad performance. But to rubbish them, saying to Sid 4 cans, I'm telling you, all those cans would smash you. Serious. I like it blows my mind. Second, the cans, they're all professional fighters. I can share the lists of the conversations I've had with the promoters of guys that they've given for Kasib to fight, and they all go, no, no, no. These guys are the only guys that take it on because obviously they come from poorer countries, but they are professional fighters, these guys from the Philippines. Philippines have had great fighters over the years. Manny Pacquiao's a Filipino. He's done all right. So to call these guys cans, that's so disrespectful to them. Especially the only can in this Australian MMA is Mitch Tinley. He's the can. Okay? Just calling people out. Anyway, that's my little rant about Tinley. And Tinley, all I got to say is when you go to MMA promotions now, just remember you got to look over your shoulder because I'm sure someone's going to nate as you. Well, if you know me, I don't really do social media. I I get my information from people sending it to me, and I heard that interview that he spoke about Kasib. Obviously, it wasn't Kasib's best performance or what I expected of him, but he clearly won 4 rounds to one, and for Tinley, to put someone's penis in his mouth, just I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing, Tinley, but if you think Kasib lost that fight, you should give up MMA journalism or whatever you think you do, because all you are is a clickbaiter, mate. Clickbaiter, and all you're doing is running down the people that you're supposed to be representing. You're Australian MMA. You're Australian clickbait, mate. That's all you are. You're just a clickbaiter. And like I said, for me, I don't care. I even said, I would never do a podcast with him, unless it was in person, because he's so disrespectful. I'd slap him myself, because you can't disrespect people, and expect to get away with it. I'm old school, and that's the way I am. You know what I mean? You're going to talk to me like that, I'm telling you, you will pay. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but I'm telling you, you will be paying. Because look, and like I said, I'm here to help Australian MMA and grow it. And pieces of shit like that, they just bring it down just for his own personal clickbait.
You mentioned talking about Kasib before. Uh, use the phrase like health issues, but as you said, it's nothing like he's not like got a disease. At least I assume.
Yeah, yes. No, no, no. It's not that he's got an injury or anything. The health issue is just his weight. And like I said, I want to a point, and then he can start looking at getting into camp. And it hurts me as much as it's hurting him, but he just can't keep doing, we can't keep doing the same mistakes. We've got to move forward. And I love keeping the fighters active, and he wants to be active. It's not that he's hurt at all, he can go straight back into a camp now and, fight on the next Hex or Eternal or any show that's available. But, yeah. And another point there, I couldn't match Kasib for nearly the first 12 months that he came to me. I was trying to match him here, there. When it came to the Hex New Zealand show, I offered $5,000 to get anybody. I mean, I can show you the screenshots of the messages I said to Eugene that I said, there's got to be one Kiwi guy out there that can fight Kasib for $5,000. We didn't even want a purse. We just wanted to get his first fight. And I couldn't get anyone. I mean, Kasib did that like an Ultimate Fighter show there in New Zealand. They couldn't match you. They couldn't match him in the end. He had to fight Kieran Joblins. You know, the kid was a world what organisation? What is it?
IMAF or Gamma?
IMAF. Yeah, he's a world IMAF. 12-0 as an amateur. 52 amateur boxing fights. and the kid just wants to get better, and he's going to get rubbish by Tinley. He's softly spoken, nicest kid in the world. He's not going to say something about Tinley, but I will. Tinley, you're on notice again.
Is for that change for Kasib, is that like a lifestyle change?
Um, Look, that's up to him. I think it is a lifestyle. He lives by himself. I guess it's easy. I don't think he's eating bad, but maybe he's eating too much. I don't know. I don't live with him, so I'm not. When we've gone away and I can see he always eats pretty clean and he he does things right. But if I'm not there, is he doing those same things? Only he can answer those questions.
Um, 7-0, 6 stoppages. I asked you the last time we talked about him. Um, but like I suppose maybe the weight, this weight maybe affects a little bit. You said you don't, want to get him all sorted before he heads off to wherever he ends up going. But like, is there any movement on that?
On
Him going to the UFC?
um, Look, we're in contact, obviously, with the UFC. Um, but if he gets a call up for the contender, that'd be great. But look, at this stage, I really want him to get his weight issues sorted first, because you don't want to get to the big show and miss weight, because they're not going to be so kind about it. They're just going to, unless you're established or you got to. It's just number one. I hate it. I really hate people missing weight. I think it's very unprofessional. And I don't like it being done to me, and I don't like it do it to other people. And that's why we need to fix this issue. And yeah, we're going to fix this before I even think about UFC.
Uh, I'm aware of obviously the one that just happened, and then him getting sick in Bali. Has this happened like any other time?
No, well, the Bali issue again. That was again because he's Kiwi. He's not the smartest guy in the world. Okay, so we he had some I forget the name of the staff, the little spotty staff spec. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, he had a little bit of that on his face, and it was flaring up after training in the morning. So, and then when we trained in the afternoon, it got a lot worse. So after the second day of this, I said, all right, we're just going to train in the morning and let your face settle. And then hopefully in a couple of days, it'll be okay. Kasib, in his wiseness, because the thing is, we've got dietitians and we've got guys that prepare meals for us. He just kept eating like he was training twice a day. So, and like I said to him, didn't you realize this? And he just looked at me with that look in his face of intelligence. No, I didn't realize that I'm not training as much, but I can still eat as much. Okay. And then somebody suggested he put steroid cream on it. And so he put it on that night to bed. When he got up in the morning, man, his face, he looked like the Elephant Man. And I had to take him straight up to the emergency place. And the doctor said, look, he's going to have to go on antibiotics, this, that, and the other. And again, he started stressing. And then again, when he went to cut weight, he was already too heavy. And it was struggling, and he was still going to fight. I think he was again. He lost. He had 600 or 700 grams to go, but he wasn't sweating. And the promoter said, "Look, take him in. We'll still take the fight." On the way there, he fainted. They had to take him to the hospital. 4 IVs later, and yeah, especially in a place like Bali, you don't want to get sick in Bali if you can help it. Number
No.
one, it's not very good, and number two, it's expensive.
My favorite interaction I've ever seen you have with Kasib was when you told him everything he owns is shit, and you said, and you know why? And he just defeatedly said, "Is it because I own it?" And I was like, you have bullied this man to the dirt.
No, if you know Kasib, he is the quietest, doesn't say boo. Half the time I have to tell him to take his mouth guard out so I can understand him because he's so softly spoken. But I'm bringing him out of his shell. Now he gives it back to me. He's a cheeky little shit, you know? It's not that I bully them, I abuse them. I'm building character in them. Like the guys say, like the boys will tell you, no matter what their opponents or anybody says to them, I have said worse to my guys. So no one will break them mentally because I do that every day. I break them.
I like how you drew the line between there's bullying and there's abuse, and abuse has a purpose.
Yes.
Joe, I thank you so much for the time. It is always a pleasure to speak to you. What does the rest of your Saturday afternoon look like?
I'm gonna go back down to the new gym. I've got some guys working down there, so I'll go in and check on their progress, move a few things around, and yeah, then just relax.
Until camp starts.
Yeah, Volk gets back Tuesday.
Is there a okay, what's happening to the church? What's happening to that building? Are you selling it?
No, God no. I probably look. Some people have asked about renting it, but I haven't had any firm offers. But my plan is probably to turn it into a fighter's house.
Is there a last is there a final date for the church?
No, no. Look, as soon as those mats go down, like I'm already, how can I say? Because I'm moving my security offices and everything else as well. There, those offices are just about done. So my security will be moving down there, and then, like I said, as soon as the mats are down, we'll just move straight in. You know. There'll still be, like I said, downstairs. The weight equipment doesn't arrive till later on, I think the 29th of December. And then, yeah, I'll just, as long as I get upstairs done, we can train, you know? That's all I care about. Then we've got space.
First camp in the new gym.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Joe, I thank you so much for the time. It is always a pleasure.
Thank you, Joel.